Okay, it looks like we're live. Hello, and welcome to the stream. We are gonna pick back up and start doing another batch of long overdue major contest playthroughs. Sorry it's been so long since I've done some of these. It's been a very hectic couple of weeks for me personally, and I just haven't had the well, I've had stretches where I didn't have time, and then when I did have time, I just didn't have the energy, or I was not in a mental state to want to stream and be in public at all. So, but thankfully things are looking up ish. But anyways, I have a long weekend, and I'd like to get all of these done by the end of the year. So we're gonna get these picked up. Next up, we have Chrizzce's course, Olympus Club. Um, since I've taken so long to do these, naturally, the first cut has happened since I've started doing this. So we now know that this is one of the finalists that made the top 16. And again, and it's to me, I think it's a pretty. Hey Seb, I am doing okay. Um, but yeah, I think there's a little bit of um, like again, all of the all of the courses that made the cut, I think are pretty outstanding courses, and you this one's no exception. It's a pretty solid course all around. I think very similar in style to Dan's course, even with kind of like you know the city backdrop going for kind of that San Francisco vibe. I assume this is specifically going for a very Olympic club feel based on the name. I'm sure he says something like that in his thread, but I don't have it up at the moment. But yeah, but I think generally just the oh, that's a terrible swing. And if I remember correctly from judging rounds, this one it kind of hits the difficulty that it's looking for by like again narrow landing areas, small greens, and lots of side hill lies and things. Which like you know that can get a little one dimensional, but I think in this case it's like it generally like it doesn't overstay its welcome too much. There's enough of a variety to it that I didn't find it obnoxious to play. But on the flip side, it's also it's oh, despite the despite the things that it does to add difficulty, I still think this one's probably a little on the easy side. It's not like ridiculously easy, but it's not like it's not the sternest plat test either. It's probably in that elite category. Maybe plat, but just not a plat major. Like it'd be an easier week on plat. Ooh, that was just a rough swing. Again, I like the way that Chrizzce handled difficulty on this course. It's hard without being unfair, but yeah, it's the fact that it is fair means that it's probably not hard enough for plat kind of thing. It's there's a weird um, like thin line you have to walk in order to make that work without the course being outright silly. It has to be like the correct amount of silly. And again, and it's all of the landing areas feel like a little exaggerated. Again, in terms of like the greens are minuscule, like Pebble Beach size greens and really narrow fairways, but it doesn't feel like it feels intentional, like obviously the point of it was that, hey, I need to make the targets really small because that's how this game works. But it's not stretched to the point where it feels comical. Although I'm just powering through this course right now. I might beat Rhino in terms of speed of playthrough just because I'm just making everything. The round goes really fast when you just make all of the putts and you just make a ton of birdies. Like I realistically should have made birdie on 3, that first par 3, but just kind of flunked, screwed up an easy chip or easy putt. Sorry. So I could be, realistically 5 under through 6. Rhino's playthrough is 15 holes, then quits because, quote, it ain't it. You got through 18. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm not going to do a Rhino style playthrough for, the point of this series is that we're giving all of the courses full playthrough. It would be funny to kind of mimic his playthrough style and quit on his course midway through, but I also love the course, and that's one I would want to play a full round on. There we go, first bogey. Now that I acknowledged that I'm playing well, again, this hole fits the theme of the course, but I don't really know if I like this hole that much, to be honest. I get that it's the drive kind of supposed to be like a bit of a bottle, or not really, like a Narrows template. But it's just kind of one of those where it's like, well, the landing area for driver is so comical, there's no point in hitting it. And there's really no reward for it. So it's just like, oh, well, I'll just hit a hybrid, stuff a wedge, and kick in for birdie. And, like, there's a shot at doing something kind of strategic, but I think the hole just plays one-dimensionally enough that it doesn't really work for me. Also, I love this clubhouse area. It's a cool idea. I'll nitpick a little bit the floating stands there. Although I guess it looks like it's floating to me. Maybe it's not. But I suppose if I have to go find it, and then also, yeah, never mind. I take back my criticism. If I can't even get the camera into an angle to prove that it's floating, actually maybe it's not. But regardless, like obviously it's hidden well enough if it is floating that it was done well. I love this little oh yeah, so you used the shed building and then you stuffed a couple stands into it to make that patio and to get fans on it. That's a really cool little touch that I really like. Like I might have to take note of that and steal that for stuff later. And then like a lovely little scoreboard there. I think this whole like the way the shot's framed, it's really nice. Like obviously Chrizzce's always kind of gone all in on the visual aspect of things. Like a lot of his early courses were kind of your like well done but sort of Arctic Fury ripoffs. Ripoff is it's a harsh word, but I mean it's very similar to his style, and it's he understood what made that work and then just did that. And I feel like over his last couple courses, he's really starting to get a voice of his own. And you still get a couple hints with, with that kind of visual touch that, he's very good at building little painting frames and spots. But, honestly, this is... I mean, the golf is starting to shine on his courses in ways that it hasn't, in my opinion, in some of his earlier stuff. And I just think, again, it's great that he can still pull out that gear if he wants to or needs to, but Like the course itself, it looks great without having to fall on like any kind of visual crutch. It's just the course speaks for itself, and and the golf is just solid throughout. Like this is, I'm like it might be my favorite course of his, and it's well deserving of its spot in the top 16. Again, the kind of San Francisco course theme in this contest is getting some real good entries. There's a lot of if you like this style of course, then you're getting a lot of new favorite courses, and deservingly so. Ooh, this is an interesting green. I think this is kind of like the most daring we've gotten in terms of slope so far on the greens. And part of that is just that you're not going to be able to go crazy on slopes if your greens are really tiny. So some of, I think, the green tameness is purely by necessity, because you just can't do any big slopey features when the green is so small that you can barely stuff 4 pins in it. So basically all of your surface area has to be usable. Whereas when you have really big greens, like you almost want a lot of your green surface to be unpinnable, where it slopes that push you from one spot to the other, or like features to play around or through or strategize around, that kind of stuff. So again, it's good that he's able to make a couple bigger greens that have some features on it, but I'm not gonna like hold that against this course too much, like having kind of tame greens without a lot of features, just purely because like that's part of the style that's required for, like it's kind of like, you can criticize Pebble Beach for its greens, but in terms of like, hey, like the greens are too small for that course. um but I think it's one of those where, like, if you accept that, hey, the greens are small, you can't also criticize, like, well, they're kind of boring. Like, there's not a lot of big slopes in it, because, like, you can't do small greens and big slopes. That's how you end up with greens that have no functional area. An early Friday stream is unexpected. Yeah, well, I do get every other Friday off, and I've had a lot of excess vacation because I haven't been able to get away from work. So lately, I've been taking every Friday off, and they figure I have nothing really important going on today, um, and I need to get this stuff done. So we're gonna take maybe an hour, hour and a half, something like that, and we're just gonna power through. We're gonna power through some playthroughs today. Again, this has been a nice, like, I think I might set the record here for fastest playthrough on this in this series so far, purely just because I haven't had a lot of stuff to say about this one. I mean, part of it is because I'd like to get several of these done. So for courses like this one where like it's really solid, and round two results stream soon. I'm not expecting final results until after the holidays. The judges are working on round two, but again, it's the holidays. Like, people are busy. I'm not going to expect people to do serious judging work over the holidays. So some of them are, like, if you can find time, that's great. I'm thankful for the judges who are able and willing to do that, but I don't want to expect that. So I imagine, like, the last round judging process is not really going to get started in earnest until, early January. And I figure mid January to end of January is when I would expect to get actual final results for you guys. Yeah, I think this green gets, like, I don't mind the small greens as a concept. This one feels like it inhibits this hole just a little bit. Um, guess I was talking about how I didn't have a whole lot of negative things to say about this course, and that's why the stream is so short. And I still agree with that. I think it's just like I have little nitpicks here and there, but I think there's just like I don't need to sit and that's just a bad putt. That's a very bad putt. I don't need to sit and kind of harp on those things when it really comes down to like, yeah, there's a couple whole concepts that I don't what do you want to call it? That I don't like. I just don't quite get. But I enjoy the the theming is great. The visuals are fantastic. The environment's great. I love the course concept. You know, like you can see the homage for it, and like it works pretty well. Like, again, like I think like the greens could get a little bigger, but also it's a major course, so I get that that's part of the way that he's deciding to make this course difficult is just scaling the landing surfaces down. I know I mentioned this on the front nine, but I really appreciate the amount of eye candy he was able to stuff into the clubhouse and framing 9 and 18 with it, but he does it in a way that's subtle that I think it hits just as hard as, you know, any kind of visual touch that you're going to have in this game, but I really appreciate people that can do kind of more with less, where, you know, there's not a... Again, there's a time and a place, and I can appreciate people that build really big, elaborate set pieces, but I also want to give a nod to people that can give that same visual punch with just like, yeah, I just did a couple little things and are just way more subtle about it. Like, I appreciate that as well. But anyways, yeah, done. Easy. Exactly. I really enjoy this course. I think, like, I'm worried, I don't know if it's quite hard enough to really, well, I mean, I did shoot 3 over at the end. Because like it's amazing how I cruised on the front part and just knocked down all of the birdies and then slowly gave it all back. Like it's not an easy course by any means, but it doesn't feel particularly hard either, I guess. Like it's, to me, it feels like a really good elite course, which is a fantastic spot to be, but again, like he'll probably just lose a couple points in terms of difficulty. Again, there's a couple whole concepts that don't wow me, or I just like don't think quite work. There's nothing that's outright bad. Again, but it's like some holes I really enjoy, and others are just they're functional, they're decent but not great golf holes. So, but ultimately, like I love the concept. It's just really solid, major kind of vibe golf. On sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once and read comments and give closing thoughts. I'll get to the comments in a bit. But just like again, it checks a lot of boxes and you know, have a couple nitpicks here and there, but overall I just really enjoy the course. Thank you, Chrizzce. I think this might be my favorite of yours right now. Keep at it. Like the chops on display here are fun to see. Like I can't wait to see what you do next. But yeah, we'll wrap this playthrough up. For those of you in chat, we'll be back in just a minute. Let's see, which one is our next one? I believe Heisenberg is up next. All right. Anyways, we will cut this video here, and I'll talk to you all soon. Have a good one.